Hello folks, I hope that you're having just a great and safe day today and keeping yourself safe in our modern COVID world. Today we'll take a look at Terry Brooks' Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold and the beginning of his Landover series. This is a part of me sort of bringing some classic names from fantasy to the table, as well as science fiction that I've been taking a deep dive into. I did Catherine Kurtz's for you. As a part of this, I've also started to reach into things like The Hobbit. I did the first edition of The Hobbit too. Terry Brooks is a big name. Fantasy, he's a best-selling author and so forth. So I'm going to start bringing him into this conversation. Now, it's not my intention right now to bring the Shannara novels in. They're heavily derivative of The Lord of the Rings and so forth. I think that his writing style matches this a whole lot better. In this book, what winds up happening is that our main character is named Ben, and he is living his the dream life of a lawyer. He's a trial lawyer. He does a lot of lawyers. He looks at the downed spiral that law has been undergoing. There are less about the client, more about the money and living that fancy life. And he has the money too. He has millions of dollars, but at the end of the day, he cares a whole lot about his clients, about doing the right thing, about law itself, and so forth. And so he's becoming increasingly disillusioned with his life. Also, his wife died at a very young age when she was pregnant while in a traffic accident, and that has also sent him into sort of an increasing detachment from society, and he feels increasingly like he's in the wrong society, and increasingly like a loner in modern sort of society, particularly lawyer society, and so forth. And then he comes across a Christmas catalog in the first chapter that has an advertisement. It says Magic Kingdom for Sale, and it's for $1 million. It gives a description of a Magic Kingdom that you can own for $1 million, who to inquire to, and so forth. And this is from a very reputable, high-profile magazine. Somebody who would not. So obviously, he starts to think this is crazy. Who would want this? Why would this actually be for offer? And so forth. But it entices him, and he starts to think about, maybe this is exactly what I need. This will push myself, get me out of my comfort zone. I've never felt like I've truly belonged in this modern world, particularly after my wife died tragically at a young age. Now what? This is an opportunity for me to reinvent myself and to find myself, if you will. So he reaches out, meets with the representative of Mr. Meeks, who has a lot of questions for him. Mr. Meeks is also trying to find the right client, in addition to the client finding the right thing. So they interview each other, basically, in the office, and so forth. Ultimately, he'll agree to do it. He'll free up $1 million for his assets with his accountant, N. And his best friend, Niles, thinks this is all crazy, and then he's going to come back. He's having a midlife crisis early because he's in his late 30s. And so forth. He's going to come back $1 million poorer with his tail between his leg. His best friend, Miles, and him, he co-founded a law agency together, and so forth. And it's been basically his only friend since all of his other friends left since his wife died. But anyway, he decides to go ahead and to enter this Magic Kingdom of Landover, and he's going to enter it. He's going to find out that the court wizard isn't a very good wizard, and miscast spells with a high regularity. The court scribe has turned into a dog by the wizard and is unable to be turned back into, so he's a talking dog. He has cobbled servants, and there are the throne has sat empty for 2 decades. There are no taxes, nothing in the coffers, no treasury, no servants beyond those 4. No friends, nobody's loyal to the crown anymore. They all have gone off on their own. There's no military resources, nothing. And so he's thrown into the deep end with no resources at all to call upon. And so now he has to make good. And that's about 80 or 90 pages into about a 360-page novel. So I'll cut you off there and leave you there. Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold by Terry Brooks. Now, I do think this is Terry Brooks at his best. Terry Brooks is a good writer. There's a reason why his stuff hit the best seller sheets. But I prefer the Landover series to the Shannara series for a few reasons. First of all, this series never takes itself too serious, as you can tell by the basic sort of concept of buying a Magic Kingdom for $1 million, and that's in a Christmas catalog. That sort of core idea is funny. It's breezy. The series never takes itself too seriously. It never makes that mistake. It has a lot of jokes in it, a lot of laugh out loud moments in it, and so forth. And it's a lot of fun to go back and sort of read this series if you haven't read it. And I've been in a sort of a lighthearted mood recently anyway, with Douglas Adams, his Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, Lawrence Watt Evans's Cyborg and the Sorcerers, The Flying Sorcerers by Larry Niven and David Gerald, all of which have a sort of lighthearted thing to it. So I've been in that sort of a mood recently anyway. I thought I would expand upon that with this series, and we're going to begin again with Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold, which is a fun, solid story for you. Now, I didn't start this series with that. I actually started the series with this copy of Terry Brooks' The Black Unicorn. It's this beat-up copy. I got it secondhand. I got this when I was in high school. I read it, enjoyed it, and introduced the series. I was about 4 or 5 chapters into it when I was like, I think this is a sequel. But I just kept reading. And then I went back. I read the sequel to it, Wizards at Large, and then I borrowed it from my dad. My dad actually owns this too. My grandmother just didn't know it. She bought it for me when she saw it on sale. And I read this, and I read it a second time when I was in high school too. I really liked it a lot. Now, because of how beat up this copy is, and I even, when I was a kid, I tried to glue it back together so it's heavily beat up, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to read it again a third time. So I bought a new copy, and I'm reading it now. And this new copy of the book, I started reading it on Saturday morning, and it's now Sunday morning, and I'm 230 pages through. And this is 308 pages in my new copy. So you can see how far I am in just basically 36 hours. Not even a full 36 hours. I'll get through it easily today. I've enjoyed kind of going back to something that I enjoyed in high school and seeing if I enjoy it or not as an adult. I've done that with a lot of things, sometimes unsuccessfully, like Richard A. Knack, but very successfully with Terry Brooks. I've enjoyed his stuff going back to it. I think it's incredibly well written. I'm still laughing at the jokes in it. I'm still enjoying the series. It's well written. It's well done. Again, it never takes itself too seriously. It never makes that mistake. I do prefer it to the Shannara series, which is his better known one. The Shannara series is heavily derivative of the Lord of the Rings. If I wanted to read the Lord of the Rings again, I just read the Lord of the Rings again. I wouldn't go to a new series of books and just reread the Lord of the Rings. That's not my goal. It is so derivative of Tolkien and his Lord of the Rings series and Middle-earth. And it's just, it doesn't really kind of it doesn't stand on its own. This series stands on its own. The writer, Terry Brooks, was a trial lawyer for a long time before he sat down to write. And you can see it with his main character of Ben. Ben he understands trial lawyering. He understands these sorts of things very, very well. So he writes Ben in the series from a place of sympathy and understanding. As you write what you know, right? And he knows Ben. Ben feels more real to me than the characters in the Shannara series. Again, even though this series never takes itself too seriously, it's well paced, it's well done, it keeps you interested and so forth. So we'll start with Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold. I'll move on to the rest of that stuff moving forward, and then we'll take it from there. So I'll go ahead and leave you to it. Have you read Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold by Terry Brooks, or anything else by him? What did you think of it? Have you read the rest of the Landover series? What did you think of it? What did you think of my comments? I'm happy to engage you with those in the comments below. If you watch this video, please feel encouraged. I want to thank you so much for your time for watching my video. And if you enjoyed this video, please feel encouraged to hit that subscribe button. There's going to be so many more of these classics to follow. Thanks so much for your time. You have a great day.